Hello and welcome. I saw this video yesterday and I was so shocked by it. I was so shocked by it. And I thought of making a video. And then today I thought about it again and I said, why not? I'll make a video about it. So the video we're going to analyze is by one J.F. GARIEPY. He's French Canadian. He's from a science background and he's a YouTube personality. I used to watch more of his videos a few years ago. In the last, I would say, year and a half, 2 years, I've watched less and less. But I do, from time to time, I do check in. Or if I see an interesting thumbnail and he's going to discuss something interesting, something that I find interesting, I'll check it out. But he's an interesting guy, as I've said. He doesn't sugarcoat his beliefs. He's quite forthright, which is refreshing. But at the same time, he comes across as very odd in ways. As I say, he's not an orthodox thinker, which is refreshing. But at the same time, I find him a bit strange. And I think for people watching him for the first time, and perhaps this video we're going to look at will be the first time they've seen this guy, they're really going to think he's strange. Anyway, he's talking in the video about the disappearance of his wife. He calls her his wife. He also calls her Mama JF. Now, her real name is out there. I forget what it is. I'll put it in the title later or in the comment section. It's national news now in Canada that this woman has gone missing. Anyway, her nickname was Mama JF, so she carried his name on the show. And when I watched it, she would come in quite frequently, maybe once per show, twice per show. Occasionally, she would come in 5 or 6 times in the show. I think I've seen a clip. Yeah, I have seen a clip where I don't know if it's just a joke between the two of them that she takes over the show and she says she has locked JF in the basement, whatever. But when you see her in these videos from his channel over the years, you would think she had the mind of a 6 or 7-year-old. There is a video where JF is speaking to another guy called No White Guilt. Mama JF suddenly enters the studio. She says something, but she's muted. And then eventually JF unmutes her, and she then claims that No White Guilt he's a shapeshifter and that he's stalked her for 3 years, and for 3 years he's been trying to kill her. So the girl, the woman, whatever you want to call her, she has delusions. On another occasion, she admitted to hearing a voice or voices in her head, and she believes it's from having smoked marijuana for so long. In another video, someone asked her what her ethnic background was, maybe. And her response was, she said something like, before I had a bad life, but then I became obsessed with JF's streams. And she goes on to say that she left her family, her job, she lost everything to be with JF, to suck his dick. Which is just a very peculiar thing to say. And how does JF react to this? Well, he starts laughing hysterically, perhaps at her in front of all his fans. And he says, "You never told me that. Wow, that is some dedicated fan right there." Now, when I saw this clip a few years back, I just thought to myself, this isn't going to end well. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. The girl is not mentally developed. She's with this high IQ guy who gives off very creepy vibes in a way. It's not right. It's not right. That's what I thought. It's not right. And it coincides with an essay I wrote a few days ago about retardation and the idea in the West that the only standard we have now is the standard of no standards, because retardation was pushed up front and center for decades in the West. We weren't told to accept it, we were told to embrace it. We were told to embrace it. And we were all equal, etc., etc. Well, when you see these two on screen, you don't get a sense of equality. You get a sense of domination and submission. But anyway, that's enough about that. If I remember, at the end of this video, I'll give what I think might be 3 possibilities in regard to Mama JF's whereabouts or whatever happened to her. So let's get into this video. I want to keep this overall under 90 minutes. And I'll say this, if you're watching this, hit the like. If this video turns out popular enough, I might make another one tomorrow, analysing a more recent interview by this guy. He did an interview last night and I listened to it. There are obviously more holes in the story now, but I'll make that only if people show they're interested in this one I'm making now. If not, it doesn't matter. This one will be up anyway. So let's start listening to this guy. And I will be pausing a hell of a lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to JFG tonight. No news tonight. I just want to talk about something personal that I'm forced to talk about at this point. It's
right. So he says he's forced to talk about. He's forced. It's not. He's not doing this of his own volition. He's being forced to do it.
I've been wanting to keep it relatively calmer and less public, but I've been forced by the various events because people have discovered about it, and so I might as well talk about it instead of letting rumors develop and all of the messy information that can stem from it. So yeah, it's the disappearance of Mama JF. Mama JF has been disappearing in the sense of not leaving any contact, not leaving information about where she was. And I titled my episode "The Cost of Liberty" because I didn't want any of this.
Okay, he didn't want any of this. Now, what this means, I don't know. Is it disattention? Is it she leaving him? I don't know.
I'm just a family guy, and I've always been wanting to provide and secure for people around me. But there is one thing I cannot do in our society. I cannot stop you from doing crazy stuff. I cannot stop you from exposing yourself to risks when you say the words, "I want to do it." When you claim your own liberty, you are on your own, and I cannot do anything to protect you. And so that I don't know if Mama JF is in danger. I don't know where she is. But at this point, I'm forced to talk about it because people are spreading rumors on the internet. Because so I'll just give you my my perspective on all of this, and you know, people are accusing me of murder on the internet. It's like
he smiles when he says that. I just thought it was a bit funny.
You guys don't know. You guys don't know the police. I've been speaking with the feds on an everyday basis for a couple of days now. For maybe I don't know, maybe a couple of days. For a couple of days, I've been speaking.
Right, the way he tries to calculate how many days, but he doesn't know. It probably tells me he's not getting much sleep. He hasn't got much sleep the last number of days.
To the police on a regular basis. So it all stems from Mama JF, you guys know, and I've stated it publicly. In June, she left. She didn't want. I mean, it's not even clear why she left, and she's done.
Okay, now that's interesting. It's not clear why she left. He gives some reasons in last night's interview. He does give some reasons, but here he says it's not clear why she left.
It in the past, you guys have seen it who have been following the show for years. She wanted to go away, so that's all we often know with Mama JF. She wants to go away. She had done it once and had come back to us.
Now he says to us, but you never know if he's saying to him and their children or to him and his fans, his fans on his channel.
Weeks after, and you remember she came on the show on the day she came back, and she said something along the lines of, "Well, I thought you didn't want to be with me anymore," and so. and I said to her, no, you left of your own will. But she says yes, and then she says yes, but I thought you wanted me to leave.
Right. I wonder why how she got that idea into her head that he didn't want her around. I'm just curious to know how she. We do know that she suffers from delusions, etc. But why was she persistent in thinking that? Right. I should say that if I'm correct now, when she left the first time, this guy here at JF, he didn't waste any time in searching for another woman to be inseminated. I think he had some sort of wheel of fortune, or I don't know what. He maintained that he had 7 women ready, and he could choose one. And I think he gave Mama JF 24 hours. She had 24 hours to fly back, drive back, whatever it took. Otherwise, he was going to take in one of these women, and she would replace Mama JF. And wouldn't you know it, Mama JF returned. So make of that what you will.
That is sometimes the state of delusion in female minds, and I can't do anything about this. I have zero control over this. If we were in the society, the Christian society of 1920, maybe I could file some report and say, hey, my wife is a little crazy. She's a little out there. Can I control? Can I own her, basically? And I'm sure that there were. I mean, basically, you didn't have to file that paper in 1920s because in the 1920s this was called marriage. But we are not in the 1920s, and we are in 2023 where we have an experiment going on in society. What happens when you let these females do whatever the fuck they want? Well, what happens is that they sometimes make bad decisions. So in June, she left, and
this is where he really takes his time to formulate what he's saying.
And 2 days after leaving, so she left and she had a whole plan. She had.
Now here he said at the very start she had no plan. Now he says she left with a whole plan or whatever. Let's go back.
Plan. She had. Well, what happens is that they sometimes make bad decisions. So in June, she left, and And 2 days after leaving, so she left and she had a whole plan. She had bought
So she had no plan, and now she had a big plan, right?
camping material.
Camping material. He doesn't give any specifics. He doesn't say a tent, a sleeping bag. Camping material.
Was on her way to some sort of survivalist trip, from what I understood.
Some sort of survival. So some sort. It's very vague. She gave him very vague information.
looked like she was preparing for life in the wild.
Right, for life in the wild.
She promised me when she left that she would always be reachable and that I would be able to reach her to deal with all of the official papers. You know that she owns a lot of stuff, and
Okay, to be reachable, not to chat, to see how things were, maybe to let him know when she was coming back. No, she said she'd be reachable, for all the bureaucracy, for all the signature stuff. Yeah.
sometimes I need her signature. And I was like, and although, we do have legal remedies for this, I was like, if you totally disappear, you might put me in trouble on some bills, on some, getting utilities and everything. So she promised to me that she wouldn't fully disappear. And she went away. And 2 days later, she talked to me on the phone and sent a message. But by the way, everything I tell you is things I have told to the police. So it's not there's no secret coming out that you guys are hearing. It might be secret from a public perspective, but it's all things that the feds have been knowing for a couple of days.
All right. So she talked to him by phone. Obviously, there will be a record of that. That would be something positive. Text messages, not really important. Anyone can send a text message. So if there's an actual, a voice call between them, that's something positive. Certainly for him, anyway.
So the last message that
Oh yeah, and he just said, what I'm saying now, I told the police. So it's kind of like he's made this video because the gossiping on the internet is, it might hurt his fan base, might hurt his income. It's better to tell them what he told the police, and the police will be watching this and they'll say, "Wow, he's telling them exactly exactly what he told us. He's just getting on with his life. He doesn't look suspicious."
she sends me in June, 2 days after leaving. And it had been apparent. I think I may have been in contact for a couple of times during these 2 days. So I was sure that she was progressing.
I may have been in contact a couple of times, so it's all very vague.
Through whatever trip she wanted to do.
Whatever trip she wanted to do. It's not my business to find out her destination or where she wants to spend the next few months.
I knew that she was still
Sure, I'm only her husband,
alive. But 2 days after leaving, she says, I have changed my plans. I will not hold my promise toward you. I will not be reachable. And it's like, okay. She says, I have a new plan. And I'm like, does your new plan involve any sort of attack against me or the family?
Right. Now that's a strange question. She tells you she has a new plan. So, you might say, does your new plan mean you're coming back to live with us? Does your new plan mean you're moving to a different country? But he asks, does your new plan involve attacking me or the family? Now, why would he think that? Why would he think that she's going to attack them? Does he think she wants revenge for some reason or other? It's all very strange.
Because you guys know how important that is to me. She says, you don't have to be worried. My new plan does not involve you. I'm just going to change cell phone. Now, I knew that she had...
Right, so her plan was not a big plan at all. Just to change her cell phone. That was the big plan. Change cell phone.
left without any sort of electronic tracking. You know how the police can track you with your credit card, with your debit card. She had left with nothing but her phone. So when she said that to me through text, I concluded, okay, she's going off grid. You know, she's going full survivalism.
And he laughs. He laughs. You know, did he try and talk her out of it? I wonder. I get the feeling he didn't.
And kind of in her fashion. I mean, that's the way Mama JF is.
You know, a mentally deficient woman, possibly, with the mind of a 6-year-old child, is going to be a Bear Grylls. She's going out into the Canadian wilderness amongst the bears and the wolves and all the rest. And he thinks that's hilarious. And you know, good luck to you. Good luck to you.
So changing her phone, to me, it meant I'm dropping potentially my own identity behind. I'm potentially disappearing in nature. I'm potentially, I mean, she could be anywhere from there. And that's what I was explaining to the police. You know, Mama JF, you remember the story she told on her video on YouTube where she talked about crossing the border in Spain and in the enclaves of Spain in North Africa.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if these stories are as true as she would make out, because she also believes, you know, that a man on a computer screen is a shapeshifter and a ghost, and he's been trying to kill her for 3 years. So it's possible, you know, it's possible that she might not have been a Jason Bourne on various missions around the world. It's possible.
Mama JF is a fucking extreme, like 007 level of like fugitive mentality. And I was kind of telling that to the police jokingly, half jokingly, but it's like she's a professional fugitive who doesn't commit crimes. So it's like she's gonna be hiding from you as hard as she can, while also not having anything to reproach to herself. But that's just how she is. So
she's John Rambo. She's John Rambo. You know, you've got 100 police officers and you think you're hunting her, but really she's hunting you.
I mean, she and so from there, I'm like, I'm gonna drop myself behind. I'm going to disappear. You're not going to be able to reach me. So that is what I've been knowing since June. And of course, you're faced with the big, should I call the police? This is a willing woman.
Yes, you should. If the woman, you know, is mentally incapable of looking after herself, especially out in the wilderness, you should have called the police within days, or you should have even let someone know before you dropped her off at the gas station or at the forest, wherever you dropped her off.
Willing adult woman doing her willing stuff. So I've not called the police because, in my view, there was no evidence of criminality. There was no evidence of distress. It looked like, to me, someone who has decided to go survivalism.
I'm just curious to know, is he her social carer? You know, does he have a responsibility to look after her? I just wonder.
Will I report someone for being survivalist? I mean, this reminds me of the Facebook post. You know,
would you drop your 6-year-old daughter off so she could go and live in the woods? Would you do that? I don't think anyone would do that.
You know, as one of your loved ones gone to survivalism, as one of your loved one bought too much camping material, that is literally one of the Facebook book posts. But I don't want to be in the society where buying camping material gets you reported to the feds.
Right. So you know he's a moral arbiter. You know, he draws the line. It's better just to let my wife disappear into complete uncertainty rather than, to take away their right to buy camping material. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And I am bound. I am bound to Mama JF's entire.
All right. I just thought these words were interesting. He says, "I am bound." The idea of binding, and then I think he says tied after that.
Because I've loved her and I still love her and I.
Now you notice that he says, "I loved her," and then he has to improve upon that. He says, "I still love her." In that case, you would just say, "I love her." You wouldn't say, "I loved her." Two options if you say, "I loved her." You stopped loving her when she left because you were angry with her for leaving. That's very possible. The second option is you know she's dead and therefore you consider the love has finished.
Still consider I consider myself allied to her forever. Forever, no matter what she does, even if she goes out there getting other boyfriends, I consider myself tied to her forever.
Bound, allied, tied, forever.
So at this point, I'm in front of this information, and I've decided that this was not warranting a call to the police in June. And I've spoken to her family, and they thought similarly. This is Mama JF. She is an out there woman, and it's not the first time she does this. In the absence of any evidence of harm or that she's doing something evil to someone else, there's no reason to call the police. And in fact, we even had someone in the family talked loosely to a federal investigator who was friends with us and just asking, what is this? Is this a disappearance or is this just a woman? Just a woman doing whatever she wants. And the investigator had actually, from what I heard, this is not an interaction that I had myself, but someone who was worried in the family spoke to an investigator and said, look, those are the facts. It's a woman. She leaves like this. She wanted to leave. She gets herself equipped with camping material and all. Is this a disappearance? Is this something we should signal? And
I still find it interesting that he keeps saying camping material without giving any specifics whatsoever. Camping material.
The investigator had said, well, no, this looks like a consensual trip. So I was reassured that not only was my judgment converging toward the fact that Mama JF does not need help and that she's a free woman, she can decide to do this. And also, there was these social signals reinforcing that I wasn't the only one thinking this. Other people were thinking this also. So that was the state in June and July, but then, the months pass and now we're in October. When is it that worries are justified? And so
I would say the worries are justified when, your mentally deficient wife starts talking about moving to live in the wild. I think that's when the worries should set in.
was a building up of stress in the people who love her. And my position has always been to all of these people, to any friend of Mama JF and to any person involved. My position has been, I saw her go. I saw her wanting to go. And so I don't need to call the police. But if you feel that it warrants a call to the police, I respect you and you go ahead and call them. And I will not.
Yeah, you go ahead. You who doesn't really know my wife, you go ahead and call the police. But I'm only her husband. She's mentally deficient, and I'm not going to do anything.
Not say who ended up calling, but someone ended up noticing that somehow Mama JF was missing, and and maybe knew about me. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it all happened, but someone ended up noticing, hey, there's this girl and her loved ones don't know where she is. And so they made a call to the police, and this
Right, loved ones. So he never says children. Now, it could be her own family he's talking about, but he uses very, very general, double meaning language when necessary to conceal what he wants to conceal, more or less.
launched a whole investigation that I've been involved in for, I don't know, maybe 4 days, 5 days, I don't know.
See, this is strange because he usually is very good at giving you specific numbers, but he's probably so knackered from all these interactions with the feds that he's lost track of time.
But the feds are coming regularly at my house. They are waking me in the morning.
Isn't that just hilarious? He. You know, the feds are knocking on my window, yeah, knocking on my door, because my mentally deficient wife went missing. Was it 2 days, 3 days? No, 4 months ago. Yeah, 4 months ago. Yeah, that's hilarious, isn't it? He.
I sleep late, and all of my loved ones sleep late.
So this is weird. I sleep late. All my loved ones sleep late. Now, is he talking about his children or is he talking about his fans? But then he goes on to say we all program late into the night. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell he's on about.
We're just that way. We are computer programmers living in the night. You know, that is just what we do. And I'm a man of the internet. My show is at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it's not even the
He kind of plugs the show there, but go on.
end of my day. So yeah, so they wake me up every morning. There are days where they come once, where there are days where they come twice. There's always a truck of the feds in front of my house.
All right. I think he said this himself in a stream he did about some woman who was murdered out in the middle of nowhere. And I think he said, or maybe he was reading from an article that, you know, there's a 90% chance when a woman is killed and the person who saw her last was her, you know, her boyfriend or her husband. There's a 90% chance that he did it. And therefore, when a woman goes missing, the police will put nearly all their focus on the husband if he's the one who saw them last. So he can't really be all too surprised by this. And the fact that they have a van outside his house now, they're letting him know that they're on to him, even though he may be innocent. This guy may be innocent. And if he is innocent, he's very dumb for recording this because, you know, loose lips and all that. Even if he thinks he's giving the exact same information he gave to the police earlier, there will be some differences, and that's what the police will hone in on. But the fact that they have a van outside his house, they're communicating to him, they're intimidating him, they're trying to grind him down to break his spirit, and he may not yet be aware of that.
And you know, there's lots of people making jokes right now on the social media, like, Jeff, where did you hide the body and all. I knew that this was coming to this no matter what, because we live in a society that just can't accept the cost of liberty. The cost of liberty is you're going to have a bunch of females make terrible decisions. But no, I have not killed Mama JF, and I would be very surprised that I'm even considered a suspect in any way. Because I have left records, I have left electronic traces.
Right, so I don't know, this is just so weird. Everything about this is weird.
Of my dropping her alive in front of cameras of a a gas station, and
Right. So I have this image in my head of him getting out of a car with Mama Jeff, and he's got a stethoscope. You know, he's listening, and he puts it to her heart, and then he gives a thumbs up to the camera. Yeah, look, I'm here, and she's alive. Look, she's walking, and she has no strings, no strings. She's walking without strings.
there has been plenty of electronic records of the fact that she was alive many days after leaving me, after asking me to drop her at a certain location. And yes, that there are so many cameras these days and credit cards purchases that I can prove. I would be very surprised that I'm anyhow considered a suspect, but the feds are still very thirsty for information, so they keep coming back. And honestly, I'm very impressed by the quality of their work. But it's like,
Right. A lot of people have found this. I know several people have done streams analyzing this video, and some of them have said that it's a red flag that he starts complimenting the police and saying how great they are when they haven't found his wife. But he's giving them a good reference, a glowing reference. Not trying to ingratiate himself with the police, of course. Not at all, not at all.
they understand also that I'm a guy on the internet, so I'm not. I have a high security home. I'm not going to let them in, but
Right. I have nothing to hide. I have a high security home. I will not let you in. I'm surprised they haven't got a warrant by now and entered his home. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they haven't entered his home by this time tomorrow. Honestly, after watching this video,
it's like, okay, they want to.
and I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he did it. I think it's open. She wasn't well. This woman. It is possible that she wandered off. If she had two kids there, it's probably less likely she wandered off. If she'd no kids there and she'd wandered off before, thinking he didn't want her, maybe she'd got that idea into her head again, and this time she'd wandered off for longer. I don't know. All I can really do is analyze this video, and I just think it's weird, and I don't think he's doing himself any favors, even if he is 100% innocent.
They want every possible detail they can have about Mama JF because they are on this program of finding Mama JF, and it's fascinating to see a bunch of professionals like this who really are interested in her safety. Let me tell you, I'm hostile to the government in general, but I've always known that within the police force, the vast majority of policemen are excellent. Just excellent workers and professionals, and I see it in my interactions with them. They understand everything. So yeah, so that means, yeah, they're coming to me, and they want to know exactly what she said before leaving. They want traces of where were you when you dropped her, who could know her, who are her friends. And it's like, I pulled Mama JF out of a lifestyle, and I never really got acquainted with this lifestyle. I'm not the kind of I don't have respect for human beings, especially not homeless druggies. So it's
Right. So he pulled her. She didn't ask to be pulled. He took the responsibility, and he pulled her out of this nasty situation. It's strange how a few years later, he's completely passive. She wants to go. Okay. want to go back into that world? Okay.
I'm not the kind of guy who will uh, will approach a female and become friends with her male friends. So what I did with Mama JF is I extracted her from her misery and from her lifestyle, and I brought her to a greater lifestyle, cleaner, less craziness. So that is what I've done. And so when they ask me where could she be, is she friends with this guy? Is she friends with these guys? It's like I have just a general idea that Mama JF is a super social creature of Montreal. And that's what I've been telling them.
A super social creature of Montreal. It's not a very good character reference.
So that's been so the feds being extremely, on their path of we need to save everyone. We need to save everyone. And I'm like, it's amazing to see the conversations between them and me, because I'm actually less motivated at finding Mama JF than they are. I've never requested any of this. I want to be clear. If Mama JF is out there listening to this, I want to be clear with you, Mama JF. I've not been requesting an investigation against you. I've not been.
An investigation against you? Like, she hasn't been, as far as we know, she hasn't been reported for having committed a crime. People just want to know, the police want to know her whereabouts. That's it.
Trying to
Nothing about crimes.
Send the feds after you. I've not been wanting to do this episode even. I'm forced to do this episode because there are forum posts right now that your face is on whatever the feds have published. And then people are looking at my tweet today, informing people about this. And they're like, well, look, he calls her Mama JF. He doesn't even call her by her real name. So he's not really interested at them finding her. It's like there's a lot of interest to wade in here. First, by naming Mama JF a way that I've never named her publicly, I would only be misleading people. The fact is, everyone who interacts with me through this platform knows Mama JF as Mama JF. So that's her name for you guys.
Right, you could say Mama JF and then put her real name in parentheses afterwards. Pretty simple. Her real name is out there. Canadian newspapers have already reported her real name.
I'm not going to reveal her real name because honestly, I don't even know if she wants to be found. And that is something you have to wait when you're in this situation.
Right. I don't know if she wants to be found, or is it, I don't want her to be found? That is the question here, watching this video.
I am a bearer of the interest of Mama JF. Maybe she doesn't want to be found. Maybe she's on a huge trip, whatever, thinking, going to parties. Maybe she's going to Woodstock in the US. I have no clue. But maybe she doesn't want to be found, and that's part of her liberty that I have to defend. I'm not going to act like these worried families who want to help someone more than they want to be helped. Because one thing I have learned at enormous cost in my life is don't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. And so I'm like to these feds, I'm like, please understand, you're going to pursue a fugitive who has committed zero crime. She's going to be playing with you, sending you on false traces. She's going to have her hoodie, hiding herself from facial recognition cameras everywhere she enters. She has dropped all of her electronics behind. She's basically 007, but she has no mission, and she's not fleeing you guys for a crime that she did because she's a good person. She's not going to commit a crime. That's the situation. You guys want to have fun finding her to be sure that she's safe, you go ahead. But I know will when I see it, and her will was to go out there and for whatever period. I didn't know when she left whether it would be a 2-week period like last time, or whether it would be a 2-year period.
Okay, so it's interesting he says this because later on you'll get the feeling that how he reacted to her departure, what he did after her departure, kind of gives the impression that he had it in his head she wouldn't be back for a lot longer than 2 weeks this time around.
She could be on a container traveling toward Morocco right now. And
okay, the Feds should really start sending people over to Morocco right this instance.
she could have dealt with the locals at the port. She could have talked to a boat driver and give him some money and get on the boat. Who the fuck knows? I mean, and so that is the situation. And to people who are saying, well, he doesn't make all efforts to find her, he doesn't name her in her tweet, or he doesn't show a photo of her. I'm not going to show a photo of her or name her when this is not my quest. This is not my quest. I had a visual confirmation from Mama JF live in front of me that she wanted to go away. So as far as I'm concerned, she's still in a trip. She's still out there just tripping, and
she's still up there in doggy heaven, you know. Not my responsibility, not my quest. I'm only the husband, you know. I'm only the husband. She's possibly only, you know, the mother of my kids. Not my quest.
And I'm not going to publish her image because I don't know whether she consents to it. I'm not going to name her name because I don't know if she consents to it. If she wants to call me and say, JF, I want to be found, or JF, I don't want to be found, she could do it, and she can do it. So yeah, what I said in my tweet is, if you guys want to help the police, and you've seen Mama JF somewhere, you've seen her at a gas station, you've seen someone who looks like her, you just call the police, or check my tweet, and you will find a Proton Mail email address. If you don't want to be in contact with the police, just send me an email and I can relay any information that I think is relevant or factual. I'm not going to relay trolling, so you guys can already forget the idea of trolling me. I'm going to relay what seems to be important, but it's probably Mama JF is out there having fun. Probably exposing herself to huge risks. You know, the risks of street life and anonymous life. When no one is there to care for you, you are at risk. Because no one knows. No one knows if someone has raped you and just put your body in a ditch, and no one is there to check. That
Yeah, it's just not clever saying something like that, even hypothetically. Saying something like that when you're the prime suspect, when you're under investigation. And as I say, this guy could be completely innocent, but it's so foolish to do this stream, his stream.
That's the consequence of anonymity. That's the consequence of having no one. That is the cost of liberty. But we've chosen to, and Mama JF has fully chosen to run with that cost. So it's like she has her husband right here, ready to care for her, ready to give her security and comfort, and not demanding anything from her. She chose to expose herself to whatever risk it is, and she totally has the right to do so. Shadow Ban says, if someone could get away with murder, it's JF. But if someone could get away with faking their death, it's Mama JF.
Right. What the fuck? Yeah, what can I say? What the fuck? Why would you read out that chat? Why would you read it out? But he reads it out and he laughs at it and
That is absolutely correct.
he says that is absolutely correct. So if anyone could get away with murdering with a murderer, it would be JF, or Mama Jeff would get away with suiciding herself. High IQ, but doesn't seem to have any wits about him. And as I say this, a week from now, this woman could re-emerge. She could be back on his stream and they'll be back playing Happy Families. Who knows?
I mean, you have found an interesting duality right here. Absolutely, totally the style of Mama JF to basically fake her death or to just disappear in a way that she can switch identity. I mean, she's and it's amazing because Mama JF doesn't watch movies like CSI and 007 or she doesn't watch James Bond and gets excited at it, but her life is a James Bond movie of its own.
She sounds like a sleeper agent.
That is what is so amazing. Holy shit. What a crazy woman who, but out of the crazy women who have been in my life, she has always been morally straight, yes, all of this disappearance is causing some kind of shake-up and chaotic thing in my life. I mean, I'm getting woken up by the feds every morning. They're knocking at my window, and I'm like, what?
Oh, you poor unfortunate soul. You can't sleep on past 9 a.m. You poor guy. This must be so much for you.
But I'd much rather this than evil stuff, than attacks on loved ones. I would much rather the chaotic nature of Mama Jeff, but with a kind of moral pillar to it, than anything else, anything more evil. Forex says often when worried families get the state involved to save or help someone, they make it significantly worse for the person. There is very little help the state can give to a person against their own will. That is very wise. And that is what I was telling the policeman, wherever Mama JF is, it was our choice to be there, and it was our choice to.
Yeah, it doesn't. I tell you what doesn't help find the missing person, the missing mentally deficient person. When you wait 4 months to go public on it, that really doesn't help. It kind of destroys all leads and turns it into a cold case. Yeah.
Run these risks, and she would hate it to hear that all of these people are looking for her. So now there's a whole national campaign to find Mama JF. And I will ask Mama JF and you guys, just to calm all these people, can you please collaborate? Like, go ahead and just if you've seen Mama JF alive and you can reassure everyone and you can calm these people and you can make so the feds don't knock on my door on an everyday basis, that would be very appreciated.
Yeah. Please, you guys, not me, I'm only the husband. But could you guys, try and find where she is? That way, I'll be able to have a lie on in the morning. Please, yeah, that would be great. That would be great. That would be great for me. Yeah, great for me.
As far as I know from this investigation, as far as my interaction with the police, I understand it to be, they are not interested in any form of persecution of me, of Mama JF. They are just interested at establishing that Mama JF is alive. So Mama JF, if you hear this, you have a chance there to calm all these people down. Only with a word from you, I'm sure they would be reassured. Silver Spider says, JF is such a loyal guy. I really hope he finds a loyal wife. We should pool all of our super chats together and order him one from Japan.
Right. So he's done this stream to talk about his missing wife, and now he reads out a super chat from one of his fans saying that everyone should pool together to buy him a new wife. The guy hasn't a fucking clue. He hasn't a fucking clue.
Well, talking about wives from Japan, I mean, yes, Martin Shkreli, oh my god, he scored. He scored the ultimate jaw-having Asian. I have never seen this, ladies and gentlemen. The sexy body of the Neotenic Asian combined with the perfect jaw of the European genetics. How the hell, where the hell does Martin Shkreli find such perfection? Tiffany Fong is new girlfriend of Martin Shkreli. Yes.
Can you imagine the Canadian police watching this, right? And they're all with tablets and notepads, pens. They're taking down notes. I can just imagine they're suddenly fucking writing at an incredible speed, when this segue comes up. Like, fucking hell. His voice, GARIEPY'S voice completely changes. His emotion completely changes, like on a whim. They must be saying, what the fuck?
Oh my god. I'm so happy for you, Martin. I'm so happy. Daryl says that's almost too much, I mean, this is the point at which it's almost there. Balloon Nut says, sends $10. Thank you so much. He says, are you serious? Did Mama JF really leave the family for no other reason than to be a drifter? I mean, it looks like it. It looks like it.
Right. So can just imagine the police report. On the very front of it, it just has in inverted commas, my wife left me and the kids, left me and the family to become a drifter.
I mean, you guys know.
He laughs about it. Who's he looking at? He's looking at someone there. 1 second.
For no other reason than to be a drifter. I mean, it looks like it. It looks like it. I mean, you guys.
Who's he looking at? What's he looking at?
Guys know we have seen her here on the show, leaving back like a year or two ago, and we have seen her again disappearing. And just before she left in June, I remember a bizarre show where I accused her of terrorism because she tried to enter the studio with something that I do not allow at all on this show, like at all. And she knows it very well that there will never be such things on this show. And she attempted to surprise me by surprise opening the door of the studio and came running to my camera. And I had the chance to turn off the camera just before she arrived to me, because it's like 2 meters. She did a 2-meter run to try to violate one of the ultimate rule of the show, a rule so intense that you guys cannot even ever hear it. That you guys cannot that I cannot even tell you what the rule is.
All right, I should mention something I forgot to say. he says, like he said earlier, that he said to the police, she's a super social creature. And yet, at the start of the video, he said she was planning to go out and live in the wild. That doesn't sound like a super social creature to me. Someone who would go out to the middle of nowhere.
And it's like, and then I said, Mama JF, you're banned from the show for a couple of weeks because that was actual terrorism. You have attempted to terrorize me, and yeah, so that was maybe weeks before she left. I don't know that it's directly related, but I think that she was starting to kind of be in a mood of party, and in her party mood, she had forgotten that there are serious rules.
Right, she was in a mood to party before, the final weeks living there. And then she went off to live in the woods. Yeah.
In Papa JF's house.
He doesn't say in our house, he says in Papa JF's house.
So yes, that is basically all I have to say, and this story is so weighing on my mind that I don't think I can. I don't think I can continue the show tonight with news or stuff of a frivolous nature. That this is too much on my mind, and that is why I had to take a break. Also, 2 days ago, it's because, man, just waking up early is something that I had the privilege in my life to attain such a degree of luxury that I can wake up whenever I want, whenever.
Yeah, I'm curious to know who he's looking at. It's just, and he smiles. Maybe she's there. Maybe this thing, this could be. This was the fourth possibility I was going to mention at the end. Maybe this whole thing is a piss take. I doubt it. The fact that it's now national news and that, but you never know. He's looking and smiling.
This is too much on my mind. And that is why I had to take a break also 2 days ago. It's because, man, just waking up early is something that I had the privilege in my life to attain such a degree of luxury that.
What's going on here, guys? He's smirking away and he's looking at someone.
I can wake up whenever I want, whenever I feel like, all the time. But
Is this a wind up, lads? Is this whole thing a wind up?
but for 4 or 5 days, I'm back to waking up at 9 a.m. Because the feds are, and they knock for a long time, before they wake me up. So it's been tiring me because when you change my sleep schedule where I'm super used to this very long sleep where I'm fully rested, now suddenly you mess up my normal sleep and suddenly I'm more tired.
Right, just a question. If he does have kids in that house, very young kids, like infants, and he's sleeping in the mornings, who's looking after the kids? She's not there.
So any information would be appreciated to calm all of these people. And it will have been a short show for tonight, but that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I can read actually what I wrote today on Twitter. The police in Canada is looking for Mama JF because, in true Mama JF fashion, she has left our home in June and has disappeared from the map. I am sure that Mama JF is fine. I know she has been safe for at least 2 days after I dropped her where she.
All right. It's very peculiar. He's sure she's fine because 2 days after she'd left, there was still some notification that she was active going by her phone. So it's like saying, I think she's fine because when she left me 120 days ago, she was still fine 118 days ago.
Wanted in June. Mama JF left our home entirely voluntarily to go live a life of adventure wherever it would bring her. But since she has electronically disappeared, not connecting to her cell phone or updating me or her family, I ask anyone who would have encountered her to just notify the police so that they can know she is safe. And I ask her if she wants to leave a note to the police, me, or her family to ensure everyone of her safety. If you want to send an encrypted tip anonymously, I can receive them at jfgariepy@proton.me.
Right, right. So he set himself up as a Cluso or whatever. He set himself up. So he will get the data from people, and he will decide if it's worth sending on to the police or not. So yeah, nothing perfectly normal. That someone would do that. They would become the police. I'm one of you guys. I've just given you a glowing reference there for about 2 minutes, and now I'm one of you guys. I deserve a badge.
And someone was asking, did everyone's girl lose her shit this summer? Mine went full postpartum bunkers in August. And I said, that's the cost of female liberty. 50,000 policemen, full-time salary, nationwide searches. We could feed the homeless 1 billion times.
Yeah, people have been pointing this out. It seems like trolling on his part. It seems like he's just taking the piss and he's enjoying the notoriety that this case has brought. But any quote unquote normal person wouldn't care about the resources being spent on finding their loved one. But in his case, he seems to have qualms about so much being invested in finding Mama JF.
Just take our society and just allow some degree of control by husbands onto their wives. Just basic control of some little financial aspects. Some like, no, you won't travel to Peru. And so I'm going to decide for you that you won't travel to Peru. Just allow some form of control of husbands over their wives. And you're not going to get events like the Mama JF craziness here. But if you want that female liberty, Papa JF can provide. And because we are in a liberal society, yeah, I'm going to stand by the ideals of our society. And the ideals of our society first is I cannot keep a woman against her will. I cannot go against her request. I cannot intimidate her to stay with me. I cannot manipulate her emotionally to be one way or another. And so what are the tools I have left as a man? The tools I have left is, all right, I respect your liberty. You want to go out there and do your crazy lifestyle? Where do you want me to drop you? I will drop you in the safest way and place I can. But that is all I can do. And that is the cost of liberty. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and much love. I'm personally very confident that this is a big scare, and I hope that Mama JF understands that she is causing too much scare. And Mama JF, I'm not hostile toward you or anything. I haven't demanded this whole investigation against you. I respect wherever you are, and I hope that you're happy. Just give a call to someone. Just leave a little email here or there. Give a clue that it's really you, and just give a sign of life. You will calm all of these people. That is it for tonight. Meanwhile, some people have different girlfriends. This is the girlfriend of the guy who got shot in the video that I've shown yesterday in New York. Oh my God. She has a K marks. So that's the girl who was standing in front of her dying boyfriend, and who I was like, she doesn't seem so concerned. Like, she seems concerned at a level not of, oh my God, my boyfriend's going to die. She seems more like, oh my God, that is some trouble I didn't want to have to go through tonight. And it turns out she's a extreme Marxist with a nose ring. Holy shit, the red flags. Yusamin says, is that why JF kept using the word crack whore around that time? Well, crack whore is my general term for, for women who live at the bottom of society and who are into drugs. So yes, crack whores is. I've been alarmed at the reality of crack whores many times in my life. Good night, everyone. Much love, and let us remain hopeful.
All right. I thought in that video, it must be in a different video. Anyway, there's a part where he says that when she went missing, he took 3 days off to clean his house, to renovate, to replaster the walls. And he was saying how great it was, that he could have the house the way he wanted it, that everything was clear, nothing was in the way, and he kept mentioning the fridge or something, and the fridge was clean, it wasn't packed up with Mama Jeff's vegetables. He could just reach in and get a can of, I don't know, is it Diet Pepsi or something, in the middle of the fridge. You could just reach in and get it. And, people were saying that's just mental, that he would say that. He would say that. Maybe it was in a stream after she'd left. But this is the thing, if he said there in that video you've watched, that he didn't know if it would be 2 weeks or 2 years, but yet, he said in another video that when she'd left, he just completely, it was almost like he rebuilt the house. That's how he expressed it. It was as if he was trying to, let out the bad air and let in the fresh air. It was like the cleansing of the house. He even used the word sterilize. So, this vocabulary, he's mentioning the fridge a few times, replastering the walls. People were just saying, fucking hell, So it's strange. Anyway, the scenarios, I should say the first scenario is it's a complete wind up. Maybe they've let it go too far. Now it's in the Canadian press. It's a scenario. Why not? The second scenario is his version, that he released her into the wild or into the streets. Another scenario is that she committed suicide. We're aware, we that have seen several videos of her, that her mental condition was not the best. And she's admitted in previous videos on leaving, or on one video, when she came back after leaving the first time, that she felt he didn't want her anymore. So, if she, with her mental condition plus feeling neglected, etc., it's possible she could have committed suicide. Maybe she could have done something stupid. She could have accidentally poisoned herself. She did seem. He did mention in the video as well that on a few occasions I don't know, had she destroyed tablets of his, laptops or something of his with water by accident or something. So it seems like she could be a bit clumsy. She could poison herself very easily. In some videos, she seemed to be a heavy drinker. So is it possible that she died either by committing suicide or accidentally by her own stupidity? And because he doesn't want his address to be doxed, he's very secretive about his having kids or his not having kids, where exactly he lives. He tells people he lives in the North Pole. We live in the North. Very, general stuff. So, is it possible that he found her dead, or he found her unconscious but didn't phone the hospital, and he didn't want the press. He didn't want any reports. He didn't want his home address appearing in the newspaper or on any media websites. So, he decided to get rid of the evidence. Another option is, if they had kids together, did she want to leave with the kids? Given his history, I think he has lost two of his kids before. Is it possible that he, in such a situation, he just couldn't let that happen and decided to take action? These are all possibilities, and as I said earlier, it is possible this woman could reappear, and she could be back on that show next week. The world is a weird place, but a lot of people don't believe so. A lot of people are thinking along darker lines. Uh, we'll find out in time, perhaps. Until soon. And yeah, by the way, like this video, share it around, and if people react positively to it, I might make another one tomorrow, analyzing his interview from last night. I might do that. So until soon, and take care.